This is the Waterloo goods, the next part of the progress in making the Waterloo goods depot, and for the Liverpool Overhead Railway, or rather it was for the London North Western Railway, and but it ran past the Liverpool Overhead, which is these parallel lines down the bottom here. And just to remind you, here is the photograph which I'm using. These are the lines of the Liverpool Overhead, and the depot comprises of this set of buildings here. So the way in which I've done this is to, because I've got information about the roofs, not particularly brilliant photographs, but enough to get the proportions right, I think. And if we look back at the photograph here, these are all of a height. Then we've got this central part here, which if we look at this photograph, it's the only other one I've got, you can see it's probably one of the oldest parts. That type of entrance gateway with cut stone surrounds. The end pieces, of course, I've still got to do, whereas here it's all much of a muchness. It looks like brick. Oh dear, brick, and then some probably some planking, some wooden structure up above it, and inside, of course, I've got to put cross beams and supports and all the rest of it. But as there's not a lot in the way of detail or information, I'm just going to have to work up as best I can. Okay, so let's have a look at these roofs. Well, I've done a bit more since the last time I posted, and you can see here that I've given them all roof lights. Now there's more detail to go onto the roofs. That'll come in due course, because there are these I think this one here is actually a walkway by the looks of it, which you often got on these roofs, but there are subdivisions down the pitch of the roof, down the ridges of the roofs, which I shall bring in. Otherwise I've fairly simplified the glazed areas. I've tried to have those as large as I possibly can get away with. I think these are the glazed parts here as opposed to there. Anyway, that's the way I've done it. And the reason for that is, of course, we want to be able to see inside. We want to be able to actually lay out track and prepare the whole thing. That's that section of wall. That is a spacer, so I can lose that, and actually that there I can hide it away. So what's the next stage? Well, the next stage, I think, is to raise these up. So I'm going to group all of those, and I'm going to ungroup the map, because we don't want that as well. But that's everything. Actually, it's too much because it takes in that central piece. So I'll hide this, and I'm going to group to there, which is, as you can see, a good selection of the buildings, and it's going to be all of these parts here. These seem to be all about the same size. These are about, I think these are about 20 foot up, and here I think that's 30, because we've got the ground floor and then two upper floors, or what appears to be something like that. And then here these are even higher, and I know they're even higher because somewhere I have a photograph. So these are all the photographs I've been using. These are my textures. There's not much left to show you. Yeah, this is that building. So this here is going to be over here on the right, and I reckon that's 10 foot plus 10-12 feet, but I'm going to make that 40 foot up there, and we've got pillars down below, so that's a good tip for that type of building. But otherwise there isn't a lot that we can use to estimate the overall look of it. So at the moment that group is 9 foot 3 inches. I'll just take it up 20 feet, and got to sort of assess to see whether that's going to be high enough. But the next ones here. Well, I don't want all of them, so I'm going to unselect these ones at the back. This is me looking down on top of it, so that's those ones at the back. So I'll group those. Okay, and we'll raise them 30 feet. And then if I pick these up, these are the ones behind, and I group those, and I'm going to put those up 40 feet. And then we're going to see how much of a difference that makes. And just looking again at our, I think these are slightly higher than these ones, maybe. Hard to tell. Well, I think I'm going to make those, just bring those up 20 feet. So let's group those. And then let's raise them up. Put them up 20 feet. Okay, so to try and get some sort of image, now I'm going to unhide everything because that gives me the visual effect of the map underneath. And let's just click away from there, pick up that bit of wall. There it is. And let's bring that, that's the x-axis I need here, bring that forward. Because that's our 20-foot high bit of wall. And I've got to try and guess whether it's going to look right. So let's go up to the upper part here. It's the wall plus that extra bit of the cut stone, which I hung on to. And I think what I need to do here is bring it down to where the valley is, where these ridges come together, to try and see if that's going to be about right. Let's have a look at that. It might be a bit low. I think it's a bit low, so I'm going to put another 5 feet on this. So it's going to be an overall height of 34, and here, yeah, 34. I'm going to push this up, so that becomes 44, and this I think should be extra 5 feet, and bring that up to 54. I think I prefer to be a little high than not. It's quite difficult to assess these. The only other way I've got of assessing it is by looking at the traffic here. And to me, these vehicles look like they're about halfway up. Less than halfway up. So I think 25 feet is probably right. And this wall will form this edge here along Oil Street. And then we're looking at the back there, that piece that's highlighted. Let's have a look at that group there. So the difference between here and here, that's the difference there. I think there is also a space there by the looks of it. It's quite difficult to pin it down. And that image with the pillars, I think if I go this way we get to it quickly. Yeah, here we are with this bit. I mean, that image is here, looking across to here. Unfortunately we don't see the difference in height there. Nevertheless, I think we're alright there. So my next job will be to put some markers in, I think. I want now to give me some idea about the track. So if we go up the top here, so I'm going to put in a box at ground level, and it's going to be, where are we? 5, 10, 16 feet. 18 is probably a bit much, that's including the clearance. Well, I'll say 18 feet, not too worried about the other measurements. That's basically to allow clearance for double track coming in there off the Mersey Docks and Harbour Board line. And then I'm going to put a block in here, and normally you'd only need about 9 foot, but it's coming in at an angle, so I think about 24 feet is about what we need. And let's have a look down here. What I'm trying to do is to get the positions right so that when I do come to bring the track in, then it looks like it's going to be correct. Not certain about that. Let's just shoot that around a bit first. Yep. And this one. Well, what I'm doing there is I'm going to push that up to 20 feet for clearance. I'm trying to assess how the tracks are going to enter into so it's coming under the left hand part of that ridge, and that ridge is the last one, so it's coming in there. There's a bit of wall there. Yes, I'm going to be alright, I think. A bit of wall there. If I move my section of wall, just to try it out, so it's going to be about half of that. No, that's going to be fine. It's going to be good. And remember, it's got to be at an angle. I don't want to alter that. It's only the X and Y I want to alter. I want to alter its depth, its position. I want to push it through there. So what I've done altogether, you can see now, if I zoom in a bit, you can see I've got the glazing somewhat more translucent rather than transparent, with that characteristic old glass hint of green. And then I've got actually a sort of it's a texture for bitumen, and in fact that one there I think is needs a bit of, that's part of a groove, isn't it, so I can't really do much with that. But that one I'll have to alter, because maybe that one as well, because I think those are too big compared to these. Those are too wide, they should be quite narrow. Also I've stretched them, whereas I want to repeat them a fair bit more. Let's have a look down. This is really important, this getting it looking right. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to be at ground level and look in to see if I've got, I know it's rather bizarre because I've got the roofs only in at the moment. Okay, I think that's going to be alright. I don't want a massive variation in the roof heights, but I do want enough to bring about the correct positioning, correct look for Waterloo Goods. So it's a big depot. Okay, so the next stage is to, well, I want to put this wall in oil street, so I'm going to pick up I'm going to clone this and bring it over here and rotate it. Make sure I've got that on, yes. 90 degrees. And let's just bring it into place. There's a few things I need to check up on. I realise I need to check with Bob about the type of track that we're using, because although I've made track for the Liverpool overhead. I think that's quite right. Let's come into that there, I think. Although I've made track for the Liverpool overhead, it's the standard track used by the London North Western and then LMS. So we're looking at the side there, I think. Just wondering what all those pitches are for. Oh, because they're all at an angle, I remember. So if we look at that, we want to have the back view, and I'm now 5 feet short of the, 5 feet short. So this is my clone. So I'm going to ungroup that. I'm going to lose this piece, so it makes it look weird. And that's the other wall there. Okay, so I can hide that. And these blocks, just hide them out of the way. Okay, let's hide the map. Let's get down to basics. Now, as I recall, we've got a 40-foot section here, as you can see, and what I want to do is simply repeat that. So I'm going to take a clone of this, just move it over, take a clone and position it there. Okay, and I want to put the other one at the other end. I'll just move it over there, out the way for the moment. And the repeating parts are the pillar and this piece. I'm going to group those. And then I'm going to do an array. Every 40 foot we're going to have a copy. So the array tool, up to 1, 2D, we'll start off with 10, and I'm guessing now it's X. I never choose the right direction first time, correct me. No, I haven't. Oh, is that? Look at that. Every 40 feet we now have 10 of those, so there's not enough there, so I'm going to take the array away and I'm going to put 20. Okay, so let it chew away on that and see how close we are to hitting the right spot. We're very close. Oh, look at that. Very nice. I've actually got 2 there, so I'm going to lose that one. I don't need that one. I don't need that one. I'll just hang on to that bit there. I'm prepared to live with that bit of slightly different position. And I want to put that so that the edge is right there. Okay. Now we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun, I think. Just want to make sure. Let's see why. Right. So where should that be? It should be 12 foot 3. So what I'm doing here is I'm positioning the pillars, what I'm calling the pillars, these brick pillars, No, not 112. 12. There we are. Okay. And now we start to get a bit awkward because I just realised that array is not finished by any sense. Because what I've got to do, of course, is to put another 5 feet on here. So I'll take that up. That's 20 feet, so make it 25. There we are. And I need to increase this, the height. It was 5'4". That's my wild guess. I was trying to work it out, the proportion of all the brickwork. I reckon I'm pretty close there. Okay, that's good. So these are all wrong. So I shall take those away. And I'll group this again, because that's our pillar, and I'll do the array, and it's still got the same. So I'll just do that. And I'll just tidy up the M ones. I'll lose that one. Yeah, that one. And this one I'm just going to move, like I did before, move it back into position. So it just should just come back to here. So it's a fraction of a foot, and I'm prepared to live with that. And then you can see the reason why I've kept this cloned one here in a moment, because my next step is to increase the wall here. I've got to lift that up to 25 feet. And now, because I've done the pillar, I can use that as a guide for the brick. Make sure we've got texture correction on here. And at the moment, the height is 1.567. So let's try 1.8. You sort of develop I reckon that's pretty good. You sort of develop a bit of a knack for this. Okay. And I want to move that here. I'm moving the roof there, that's no good. Silly. Okay. So let's just check on this that it is how we want it to be. I'm going to do a clone there. I'm doing that so that I can judge when I've got the bricks right. And this one, I'm going to pick up these two polys and I'm going to stretch it right across. And you can see that's actually only one poly being stretched across there. Now obviously the bricks aren't right, so that'll be my next job. I just want to unwrap, select the face, and basically I've got to get this one, these looking like these. So it's 3 at the moment. I reckon it's 18 I did 18, so let's say try 54. Start with that. Oh well, not far out. Not a bad guess. And the way I do it is I just pull this across the front. And then have a look there. Gosh. Alright. 54, that's not bad. So this is my next one. And let's just move it along a bit. It's going to line up here with this. Let's take it into wireframe. And it's at that point I am pleased that I actually kept the depth of those bricks below the blue brick section there. And let's take the moulded brickwork and move that along. Now I'm going to finish that off with a wagon stone. It's something they used to put at gateways, and I'm sure that's not the correct name for it, but that's all I know it as. And it was like a 3/4 pillar, low pillar, that was put at the entrance to buildings through doorways one either side, so that if the hub of the horse-drawn or later steam-hauled road vehicle hit the corner, it didn't actually, it hit the stone, it didn't hit the door frame or the entrance frame and damage it. So I'm just wondering what these are. Whatever they are, I'm looking through the building at them, so they're not, I mean, that one I can lose. This one I'll need to keep a copy just to compare. And you see now that the moulded stone is the whole distance without adding a single extra poly. It's just stretched out. I'm going to bring that right way along. Now obviously this is just the face looking into Oil Street, the wonderfully named Oil Street. And so for the front of the buildings, it's going to be a bit more problematic. I'm going to have to tidy up all these edges because there's nothing behind these. These are just faces. So now I've just got to adjust to this face. And what have we got already here? Let's have a look. Well, it's at 7. I think I multiplied it by 18, so it's 7, it's 56, that'd be 126, which is a lot of repeats. Don't reckon I'm far off though. Perhaps a little. No, I reckon I'm right. That looks good. That compared with that looks good. Job done. So there we are. That's the first of the walls for the goods depot. It should also, yeah, I've got the inside still to do, which are those inside faces there, but that's not going to be an issue. That's what those were. But if we look here, that gives us the first truly 3D effect for Waterloo Road Goods Depot Oil Street frontage. And I'm just going to flick through here to show you what that frontage, what the remains of that frontage looks like today. So I've got a picture somewhere. Here we are. Here it is. So it's, I've increased the height. You can see that. I think that's quite a reasonable representation. There's another section. Now I'm not sure where that was. It wasn't Oil Street. It looks like it's on the main dockside road, which means it's been swept away, because all of this has been... Oil Street is the only one where there's anything left. So there we are. That's the first side wall of the depot. Obviously I've got the interior section to do, but that's simply sorting out one of those planes and running it down through there. And I know how many times I've got to repeat the texture, because it says so on there. If I look there, it says 54. In fact, I'll just do that. I'll just finish that off while I'm at it, while I'm doing these. So 54, it may need to be 55, because I'm actually going to stretch this. Just make sure we're at the correct position. Yes, it looks like we are. So let's go down on it. Look down on the piece. There it is. And let's just move it. Get it to move. Whoa, there we are. So I'm going to position it right at the edge here. You can just see it moving there. So that's the curved piece of the brickwork, and then I'm going to pick up the other end and I'm going to just drag it right the way along to the pillar here. Okay, and if we have a look at the actual face now, gosh, it looks pretty awful. So let's select that face, edit, and this time I think it needs just another repetition beyond. I think it's 55. There we go. And that's the interior wall. Except, of course, that it hasn't got the height. It's not the same height. You can see where I'm going to have to put an end piece in here. So it's got to be, let's go back. Vertices, so it's gone back to this. And down here, push that up to, we want 25 feet, so I'm 20 at the moment. Okay, and that's okay, but let's just have a look at what we did with the brick here. Choose this one. And we took it up to 1.8. Okay. So here, this I think it's got to be, it'll be higher than 1.8 already. 1.75, so I think I've got to take that up to 2. Yep. Lots and lots and lots of brick. Okay, so there we are. That now is the Oil Street wall side completed, and that that same wall section is going to be used elsewhere, and I'm going to use parts of it along the front here along with some wooden panelling, but I'm going to blank all these off with brickwork. Yeah, that'll be the next job, I think. So there we are. I hope that's been of interest. That's the next stage in Waterloo Road Goods Depot, and we're beginning to approach the point where I've got to sort out some track work and the platforms and that to go inside, and it's going to be quite a structure when it's finished. So if you have any comments, queries or suggestions, please post them, and look out for the next one.